You all, we are not licensed professionals. You know, we are just here on this roller coaster called life, trying to be better friends to one another, trying to be better human beings on this planet. If you're tuning in, we are not opting out of therapy. We are not advocating that you listen to us and not see someone who is licensed and trained to help you with day-to-day life on how to cope and deal. So we advocate for therapy a lot here. We believe that everyone has something to talk to somebody about. So, just like to make that disclaimer that we're just here giving our opinions and having discussions week by week. And we're hoping that, you know, maybe you can find something useful, or if at least find a little humor in this terrible, terrible rock we call the world.
In other words, if you listen to our advice and you get popped in the mouth, don't at us.
Yeah, don't at me because you may get popped in the mouth again. Excellent. Welcome back to another episode of the Friendship University. You know, the podcast where we get together, me, Miki, try to be less trash, even though I feel like I've been trash over the last couple of days. But we'll get into that later. We just want to encourage people to know that people are your greatest resources. So be kind. Rewind. How you doing, Miki?
That was really fast. I'm good. We are here for another episode again, like clockwork. You know, she won't take the heel off the back of my neck.
I'm not. I gave you. No, listen, we took a break last week. It's
we definitely
fine.
did take a break. After Miss Beyonce all in us mouth, actually not like liquor because she did not perform that for my specific show.
Sick.
Disgusting. I'm not gonna get into it. You know.
It's an open wound.
Mother, you're wrong for that. Just throwing that out there. Like, you know, I would say I gave you my everything, like my time, my coin, my whatever. But like, I gave you the least amount of coin I possibly could provide at the time because I was broke.
So you gave the most, I think.
I gave the most amount of coin I could give at the moment.
Yeah.
Time wise, I did sit in that chair for like 2 hours waiting for her to come on. That's on me. But she, you know, like I said, I'm not really getting into it. You know what you did. I know.
Just for that.
Julius and Blue Ivy are, you know, scanning the airwaves, making sure that we're not defaming you in any, way, shape, or form. So, I'm not going to get into it. Thank you for your time. Had a great time, and just know that I expect better next time. I expect us to be in alignment next time.
There's gonna be a next time.
You're right. But no, I'm good. Tired. You know, we're recording a little early this week just because life be life in, and you gotta make it work with what you got. Also realize being an adult means that you wake up in pain sometimes for no reason.
Like physical pain?
Yeah, like physical pain. Emotional pain too. Psychological
But you
pain.
mean physical pain is for real too?
Yeah, no,
I woke up and my knee hurt this morning.
My back is it's on fire.
I don't know why. I ain't been pop, lock, and dropping nothing.
No, I'm literally like laying in this very comfy bed these past few days. I'm house sitting, and maybe because it's a bed I'm not used to, but the way my back, I pulled a muscle, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? You be
working out though? Did you pull it working out?
No, I pulled it sleeping. I pulled a muscle sleeping, and that's adulthood. So, yeah, no, knee pain. Let me tell you, after the Beyonce concert, my knees were on fire.
I don't regularly have knee pain, so I don't believe this is going to stay. But I don't know. I don't remember hitting my knee. I mean, you've seen these 30-plus-year-old knees. I still be dropping it, Meg Thee Stallion knees, by the grace of God. I bet I only drop it low for Jesus. Yeah. Drop it low for Jesus. You ever heard this song?
No.
Keep the Lord in mind. When you're dirty wine, drop it for Jesus.
Oh.
He's heard that song.
Oh my.
Hilarious. I don't know what I did, but it was like I was driving today and it felt like I just needed to stretch my leg out or my knee was going to lock up. But I couldn't because I was driving, so I couldn't take my foot off the pedal.
Let me tell you something. I know I'm younger than you by an indiscernible amount of time. I won't tell anyone.
That's unnecessary.
You're right. So I know you're a little bit older than I am. Again, not
right there. We can right there. Go on with your statement.
But that's how it all starts. Like my knee, it go like any pain, it goes from like a okay, that's unusual. I'm not used to that. To okay, I gotta stretch it out a little bit into okay, wow, that really is uncomfortable. So you keep an eye out on that knee.
I don't receive anything you just said. My knee's gonna be fine.
You know what? You're right. Return to sender.
I'm gonna be good. I don't wake up in pain. Thank God. I don't know if it's because I do regularly stretch. I will say that. I will say the older you get, majority of what I've read, stretching, making sure your legs, knees are in good condition is a key to longevity. So if you can it's not too late.
It's too late.
It's not.
It's too late.
There's I read a story about this woman who became a bodybuilder at 60. And she transformed her body. By 65, she was unrecognizable and she was winning awards. You don't have to be a bodybuilder, but I don't want you waking up in back pain. You got to be around long. Loki's got another at least 20 years in his body.
He better. He better have at least 20 years.
Your parents, we got to get you on stages. You got a lot to do.
I'm so tired. I don't want to do anything.
You can't wake up tired.
I don't want to do anything anymore. I'm tired. My back hurt.
I think it's just from that concert, honestly.
I think I got gout. I don't know what happened. Beyonce gave me gout.
You have been in shambles actually since that concert. Just to be honest,
I'll never be the same.
I don't know.
It was supposed to inspire me, but all it did was make me severely depressed. Beyonce's a drug that no one should be doing.
Yet, that's spoken like a true addict. Honestly, you're not supposed to be doing the drug, but you keep doing it. Keep chasing that high. Did you know that crack high only lasts for 7 seconds? In total. Yep. 7 seconds. And after that, they're continuously, the reason they act so crazy is because they're chasing that 7 seconds of heaven or whatever they perceive to be heaven. Yep. It's crazy.
I have no personal experience with crack.
I don't either. I just read a lot.
Really? I didn't know it was only 7 seconds.
7 total seconds. Learned that when I was, as I've been studying psychology.
Okay, so I have to talk to, let's just pause here for a second because I have to tell you and people stuff. If it wasn't for the fact that
are you about to ask me what I do crack?
No.
Okay.
I'm going to let you know that. Just hear me out. If it wasn't for the fact that it's super addictive and and it would fuck up the way I look. 'Cause I like my smile, I like my skin and stuff.
If you say
I would do crack. I would do crack. I ain't gonna hold you.
What?
But hear me out. Hear me out. Think about all the other drugs that people that have come and gone in popularity over the years, fentanyl come and go
because it's making people come and go.
Molly come and go. All these other things come and go, but crack has been out here whacking folks for years. And I can't think of many things that have convinced people to want to sell their baby. And I'm just curious.
It makes you the come down. The reason the 7 seconds is so interesting because there's a detanglement. A brain frenzy that happens for the next 12 to 24 hours as you come down from that high that makes you so irrational. So that's why you see crackheads just be like that. It's adrenaline and.
Well, I'm not saying do crack. I'm curious what that 7 seconds is like.
I feel like if I take what you just explained it as having been around for so long, crack is the roaches of drugs. And you don't want to do a roach. A roach is indestructible.
I'm just saying is that whatever that 7 seconds is, it must be.
It
gotta be worth it. But you know, don't do crack, kids. I'm not doing crack.
He would
crack
never do crack. I don't think you would do it. If it
was like 100% safe, like 100%, like you're not gonna get addicted, your teeth will not fall out. Like your life will be perfectly fine. Like if crack was like, if the effects of crack were like as safe and as like recreational as weed, I would probably try it. Just to see what would happen.
I actually believe that.
If it was that safe, or it's like, you know, it's just like weed, like it's nothing super crazy. Like, yeah, the high would be a little different, but I would be like, sure, let's try it.
Would you try it if it had the potential to still become addictive, but it had no like physical ailment changing? Like you still didn't lose
I have an
your
addictive
teeth.
personality. You give me something I like, I'm gonna keep trying it. Or keep eating it or whatever.
Okay, that's fair.
Well, here's the thing though. I have like a temporary addictive personality. Like I'll go really hard on whatever it is for like a short period of time. It's something I have to like, which is normally food. It's normally a food related thing where like I'll eat it once and I'm like, I need to eat this fried rice that I got from this place for the next 2 months straight, and then I'll stop.
Because you're over it.
And then because I'm over it. So yeah, like I have a very short term addictive personality. Very, very, very small amount. There's like maybe like a less than a handful of things that I'm like, yeah, I have struggled to give that up no matter what.
So you could do crack for 2 months and then get over it. Would you do it?
Will I have my teeth at the end?
Yeah, no physical ailment changes.
Probably.
Okay. Well, thankfully, that will never happen.
Never.
So we'll never have to worry about that.
This is all very hypothetical.
At the end of the day, kids, don't do drugs. The crack is whack, and there's a reason you don't see new age crackheads. So just say that. You don't see an abundance. Like there's the term the crack baby. People born in the 80s and early 90s, our generation. Most of those parents were crackheads because it came out 60s, 70s. In the neighborhoods, but you don't see those, like you don't see millennials doing crack. Like there's a lot of the crackheads you see are old because a lot of young people are not doing crack.
My cousin was a crackhead.
Yeah, you don't see an abundance of them, like a surplus. There's still a few people out there who, get addicted, but not as much as it used to be.
He stole my PlayStation.
What?
Yeah.
To sell?
I don't really know why.
He sold it for crack.
I'm
going to tell you that. I had an uncle who was on crack. He stole our grandmother's television.
Oh. Was it like a fatback television?
Stuff. Yeah, it was. Honestly, to this day, we still don't know how that nigga got it out because it was a floor model. And floor models were absolutely heavy.
Right.
So I don't think he got it out by himself.
Okay, so
but
like,
you just never really
this
know.
episode's not about crack, I promise. But like, I will also say, like, the determination and the strength of a crackhead is like
it's crazy.
They will find a way out of no way.
It's like, what's your boy from The Boys, the runner, A-Train? They got like A-Train speed and strength.
A-Train's wild. Bring the boys back. Where's that at?
It's supposed to be coming back. Here's hoping the strike, doesn't do anything about it. But I think they announced it. But yeah, this episode is not about crack, but crack is whack. Remember that. Our heart goes out to anybody who's dealing with people with addictions. We know it's very difficult.
Yeah, like don't. I'm an asshole. I'm not doing crack.
It's fine. It made me remember that I had an uncle who actually did crack. And I was like, I completely forgot about the fact that he did crack. It was stealing from multiple people, but it just happens that way. Again, now that I think about it, I don't remember the last time I seen a crackhead since Tyrone Biggums, and that was a fictional crackhead on Dave Chappelle shows.
Right, yeah.
That was the last time. Okay, so your last 7 days been good. You saw Beyonce. What else have you done besides try to recover?
That's really it, honestly. Just try to reassimilate into reality because I don't know what the hell that was. Beyonce being her own form of crack, honestly, really. Immediately chasing that, like you said, immediately chasing that high. I was I was looking up flights and stuff. I was like, I can fly to a different city and see her, or like, how do I work for her or whatever? I can't work for her. It's a lot of work. Seems like
you don't want to work. You don't desire.
I don't desire labor. I don't. It's that's like really depressing because like I think about the fact that like I don't have a dream job because again, I just don't want to work. The idea of having to work for a living is stupid.
I don't think well, let me not say that because some people do
some people love working.
Like working in a sense of I think if you could do what you love to do, I think the saying, people say, oh, if you do what you love, you don't work a day in your life. That's not true. It's not that you don't work a day in your life. It's just there's almost a satisfaction. How you create something and in the process you're like for example, people who like to cook or bake, you're baking a cake and it's okay, this is laborious and baking this cake, but then you get the satisfaction. That's the high. You see the finished product, the cake is made, it's beautiful, you see people eat it, it's lovely, it's pleasing to them. That's what I think they meant. You will work, but at the end of the day it's you've worked to create something. And I think there's something different that happens to your brain when you create for yourself and work for yourself. So I think if you could find something that
you know what gets me high? Laying in my bed and sitting there.
You could do sleep studying for a living.
So, you're not the first person to say that. They're you could be a sleep doctor. And I'm just I don't, because, that doesn't really work because I want to be the one sleeping.
Well, you could be the one who they test the sleep machines and stuff on. So you would technically be the one asleep.
That doesn't sound lucrative. I need to make a lot of money doing that. Six figures or more sleeping.
You can, though. You just have to work to get there. So you don't have to work your whole life, but that's that thing where people talk about passive income. You make money in your sleep. You just get there.
Literally make money in my sleep. Who did I
just hear? I just heard about somebody. I cannot remember who it was. But the amount of passive income that they make is obscene. It was over $100 million a day. If I can remember it, I'll bring it back up. But I was watching a YouTube or something, maybe listening to a podcast, and they talked about the amount of passive income this person makes. And I was like, talk about passive income. Making money in your sleep. That's real making money.
I find out you can make about $29 an hour doing sleep studies.
Look at you. That's lucrative enough for you, Loki.
It's a wrap. Oh, it's a.
Why are you on Indeed right now looking up sleep study?
Oh, it's a wrap. Mark this whole part of the podcast out. We can't let people know the secrets. That's how people be fucking up on TikTok because they be telling everybody a bunch of shit. Keep stuff to your chest. You can't keep telling the internet everything. This is not a secret no more.
There's a healthy amount of gatekeeping. I will agree.
You have to gatekeep some stuff. Some stuff you can put people on. There's some stuff I agree you can put people on. Other stuff I know the secrets to how to win $100,000, or ooh, I know the secret to how to get free
those videos be
Chick-fil-A or Chipotle for the rest of your life or whatever.
It really be false because they be just finding a fluke in something, and it doesn't be for everything.
But meanwhile, there are the girls trying to see Beyonce are getting fucked up right now. No upgrades. No tickets. Oh, this is how I got Beyonce floor seat Renaissance.
But that's what I'm saying.
For $200. Meanwhile, they show up no tickets.
That's what I'm saying. It's a fluke. It happened for you because of whatever dynamics for that day. That's not. It's just like people who work out and then automatically are this is what you need to do: lose 50 pounds in 7 months.
You know how you should. You know a good way to lose 50 pounds in 7 months? Crack. So there's that.
We're gonna move on because crack keeps sneaking this cracky way back into the conversation. My 7 days were good. I saw 50 Cent. That was fun. Never thought I would see him live. Someone happened to email me and asked me if I would like to see the 50 Cent show. So went there, and he had Busta Rhymes as his opener. Ooh. Completely tight. This is my second time seeing Busta Rhymes. Yeah, dog. He brought out Goody Mob, and 50 Cent, as problematic as he still is, I can't even say was because I'm gonna get into why he's still problematic. Put on actually an amazing show. I I will give him that. He had the fire going and the confetti. He had New York City like as a background. He had like buildings and stuff like on stage. He refuses still though to change some of his lyrics, so he definitely dropped the F-bomb, and I'm not talking about F-U-C-K. At one point, sure. Everybody in the crowd was like, whoa. Like, even the...
He said the lyrics
gangsta people who, was wearing the 50 Cent bulletproof vest back in the day were like, hold on, wait a minute. So, that was interesting. But, yeah, good time. And then I saw Kev on stage. Very funny show. Completely glad that I got a chance to see them. He had a stellar lineup, brought out everyone that you could pretty much think about from that whole like collective, excluding like Angel and a couple of other people, but
like the Instagram comedians.
Well, yes and no. So they're pretty big on Instagram, but it was good to see them do stand up because you kind of realize they're actually really funny. Like Ismail Mitch, he brought her out. She's been recently blowing up over the last like year or two. I mean, she's had things go viral before, but she's like really blowing up. She was funny, like as stand up. Kev on stage, even, who you just see. I mean, he puts out a lot of content. Like he has the app. I have his app. I look at some of his shows. But even as a stand up comedian, you're like, that's a totally different realm. And so I was pretty excited to see him and thoroughly pleased that he did such a good job. Thank you for coming out, showing out for our city. So he brought a couple of other people. There were quite a few older people in the crowd, so they were not responding to the DJ the way that they thought they would be. It was a lot of like playing Nuck If You Buck and stuff, and that was not what they came here for.
Is it not?
Not.
Is it not?
They weren't millennials. Let's just say that. A lot of people in the crowd were not millennials. They're ready to fight. Yep, and then we're here. So that's the last 7 days. A lot of work. Yet tired, but persevering through. So this week, I thought we would talk a little bit about like success. I've just been having some conversations and reading some things around it. It's always something that I'm just so intrigued to get other people's thoughts about, because there's like standardized ideas of success, and now I would say in today's society it's becoming a little bit more less linear, like how it used to be, like this is what success looked like and this is like how you could show that you were successful. I think millennials and Gen Z have shown that success can look very different for a lot of people. It just depends on what you consider it. So we're going to talk about success, what we feel like success is, and how we feel like our friends help us get there, because I think community is important when we talk about it. So yeah, I'll start by asking Mickey, what is your definition of success? I can read I looked up the word.
Of course you did. I mean, I know you did. You go ahead and just say it now. Just go ahead and say the definition, Kristen. I know you already had it up.
I did look up, but my definition is still.
Go ahead and give me the Merriam-Webster's dictionary version of it. I know you did.
Yes, we did look her up, and the two definitions for it, according to Merriam-Webster, is one, the accomplishment of an aim or purpose, and two, the good or bad outcome of an undertaking. So the good or ill success of your endeavor. I took it a little further back because I also like to exegete, and then so I just wanted to know where the word came from, where the origin came from. So I looked up, of course, it's of Latin descent, as most words are. Forgive me if I say this incorrectly to Italians or whoever knows this, but I think it's succedere, which means come close after or happen to occur. It then evolved to the word successes, which means advance, gathering a good result, or having a happy outcome. and then turning into success that has the general meaning of what I just said. So all that set aside, what do you think your definition, like for you, what would success be? And if you say sleep, I promise you.
What? If I what?
If you say sleep.
Oh, damn. It's like she knows me so well. Okay, so outside of sleeping, because sleep is definitely a good night's rest is definitely something that can be a success. So, to me, success is being able to feel at peace with whatever it is you tried to accomplish or sought out after or worked on, etc., etc. So, like, you know, that kind of can depend on, you know, what the thing is you're referring to, and, you know, that bar of success definitely kind of pivots and changes depending on what, you know, you're trying to accomplish. Like, you know, success of, like, I need to fold my laundry today versus, like, I want to be a multimillionaire. Two different versions of success. Like, one doesn't require nearly as much work as the other. So, I think it's just kind of like, it's like an internal feeling you have at the end of the whatever, and you can kind of look over and be like, okay, that was a success or that was unsuccessful or whatever.
Yeah. Of course, like, success has levels. You set goals, you can have things that you want to get done. I will say, looking up the definition, I'm just going to reference it again, because what I found interesting, for me, success does definitely mean accomplishing what you set out for, ongoing. So just not giving up. If you faint not, you will get to the finish line. That's what success for me looks like. And looking up the original word of it, the Latin origin, it does literally break down into you will get to the other side if you don't stop, essentially. Mm-hmm. So it's just kind of like, okay, well, thinking about that, I wanted to kind of talk about how our friends help in those endeavors and like what we consider success, because for me also success is tied to my purpose. Of course, I want to be able to do what I was created to do on this earth, and I'm wholeheartedly a believer that you will never be able to do that without the help of other people. Anybody who tells you, and I think I've said this before, anybody tells you they got to where they went by themselves, they're a liar.
Lies.
You cannot believe them. And then if you lie, you'll steal, and if you steal, you'll kill. That's a mantra that I learned from a very wise person. So don't trust them. I definitely believe you need community. So, like, can you think of some times where you've had friends who have aided in your success, and like, what did that look like for you?
Yeah. Do you want like a specific example, or you know?
You can do an example. You can whatever you wanna.
So I have. I guess having a specific example, that's, you know, kind of hard because I have a lot of examples I could use, but I'll use one that's a little bit closer to home. Our mutual ambiguous third friend has been around helping with the success of this podcast, as well as the success of my own DJ stuff behind the scenes. You know, the nameless, faceless person who I'm talking about is really just puts it all together behind the closed doors. Yeah. Like, I won big cash prizes.
Big cash prizes in Spain. Oh, and outside of Spain too.
Inside and outside of Spain, yeah. I had a, you know, event because of them and their, you know, fantastic ability to get me set up video wise and all that great stuff. And the podcast, you know, of course, is edited and all that great stuff. Our sound bits and our socials and all that stuff.
Our producer, we'll have a sit
they
down.
Don't have a title.
Oh yes, our
producer, manager, label owner, bad bitch in charge. I don't fucking know. Barbie in charge, I guess. Who knows? But
hi, Barbie.
So yeah, definitely contributes to the success of all those things. So very appreciative of that. And in regards to kind of like how friends like play a part in success. Again, it depends on what the goal is, of course, but ultimately, like, I'm a firm believer of like, you are the company you keep, in a sense of like, people who are of the same mindset of you have like the same work ethic and kind of like have not necessarily the exact same goal as you, but like they have that drive in them to like see their goals, you know, be achieved. That can usually like rub off on other people. So I find that if you spend a lot of time with people who are successful or consider themselves successful, like you tend to also kind of like pick up that successful energy, for lack of a better term, or you like feed off each other, where it's like, okay, like I see you doing your thing, you're killing it, and I respect you, and you know, we're close friends, and you know, I want to do my own shit and kill it, and now I'm killing it together, and now we're both killing it. So friends definitely play a part in success.
How do you like your friends to show over you when it comes to like you wanting to reach your goals and be successful? Because I think we can both agree that success is an everyday thing, right? You like are constantly working at getting to a point of evolution where you're successful for that day or that year or whatever goals you have in mind.
For me, friends, like for me, when it comes to like friends and like contributing to my success, is like friends who keep it reals.
Okay.
Reals with
don't
a
like
Z.
a lot of yes men.
Mm-hmm. No yes men. Because when especially being like quote unquote an artiste, I need people to tell me if like something actually like something I make isn't good, or something I do isn't of quality or of the quality I normally put out, or you know, if the direction I'm going is not the good direction, or whatever the case may be. I really like people who will keep it real with me, of course, be honest about like, you know, hey, like you did this and this one, and you know, this is just my honest opinion. Now will I agree with the person automatically? Not necessarily. Just because you're like, oh yeah, I didn't like it, doesn't mean I'm like, okay, well, you know, that's your opinion, you know.
Right.
At the end of the day, if I'm super content with it, you know.
Exactly. And everybody's not as well versed in certain things.
Right.
So you could take something to someone and they may just not get it.
Right. And be like, okay, yeah, maybe it wasn't for you. I mean, I'll still listen to their feedback because I think it's important. And, you know, last thing I want to do is be looking like a fool with my pants on the ground. And, like, it's like, okay, like, this could have been avoided if my people around me were just honest. Be like, hey, you know, that last track wasn't really hitting, or, you know, that transition, it doesn't really do it for me, or whatever. You know, so friends just to keep it honest and real with me are like definitely the ones that I'm like, yeah, you're the real ones, for real. Outside of that, just like showing up is really important. You know, I am not necessarily the best when it comes to showing up for everything, if we're gonna be honest. Like, there's some things where I'm like, I don't need to be there for this. Like, we're good. But if something important where it's like, oh, this is my first show, or oh, I'm putting on this event or whatever, like, I'll try to make it to some of the events. I can't promise you all the events, but like, I'll at least come to like a few of them, show my support, and like, you know, pop up.
And I don't think anybody can make the promise of making every event. If you're around, if you're using the thinking that you're the company you keep and you're like working towards something, then other people are probably working too, and so they may just not have the time to be there for everything, right? But they will make time to be there for some things, for sure. Absolutely.
So definitely those two things, or two or three things. What about you? What's your, if I could talk today, geez. What's your favorite way? It's been a long day, even though it's Sunday and we haven't really done much. But, you know, how do you like your friends to show up for you for your success? And, you know, you have any examples that kind of speak to you?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the podcast, because this is a good example, right, of a differentiation in between what person A versus person B would think is success. Right, because we think the podcast is a success. I especially think the podcast is a success in its current state. Yes, we're working towards more and greater, but just being able to like show up, get it done, be consistent. We have a friend who is really in the loop with making sure that all of that happens. For some people, they would just say, well, you're not the number one podcast, you're not making a lot of money from this, or you're not making any money from this just yet, you but the success is still being committed to doing it and getting there day by day. And we have someone who's in the corner willing to like go through that with us. So being able to like depend on someone to build things up. And that doesn't say that every friend has to do that. Like, you don't always have to do that in your friend groups. But I will say I have seen so many collectives, so many people who have quote unquote made it to that moment where they break through or they're like mainstream, and they had friends who helped them get there because they were willing to build with them. So that definitely means a lot to me. I definitely appreciate when friends show up in that manner. And I don't even think we asked them, now that I'm thinking back on it. I think it was more so of like, how can I contribute? And they realized they had the skill to do that, and they just stepped in and filled the gap. That's like a heart melting moment, right? Like, that's like a love language that you just, it's unmatched, because it's like, you don't even think, you're like, what can I do to help you reach this goal? And you're just like, I just insert myself wherever I can. So that's definitely a way that I appreciate friends showing up and making sure that something can be successful. Accountability too. Like, maybe you don't have time to offer, maybe you don't have skill set, money, whatever, but I told you I wanted to do XYZ. And when we talk, you're not afraid to bring it up, because sometimes people don't want to talk about like what you said. But no, if you said this and I believe that you really want to do this, holding me accountable. I'll also say, like, I definitely enjoy feedback, but another thing I'm willing to take, and that actually kind of speaks a little differently to me, I won't say speaks of a higher or lower volume, but just speaks differently, is that when I do go to a friend and I ask them about something that they've never been in an arena for, they're very honest in saying, like, this is my opinion, but I don't know much about it. Mm-hmm. But maybe I can put you in contact with this person who I do know knows a lot about it. Mm-hmm. And so, because I think a lot of times, and I even had to learn this, it's still an everyday lesson, people aren't coming, sometimes people are coming to you for validation, and they don't need validation, they need help.
Right.
And so they're coming to you like, I trust you and I need you to validate me. And you don't want to not validate them and say like, okay, well, maybe you should be doing this or maybe you should be doing that. But maybe you should just think inside yourself, like, I don't actually know a lot about this. Like, this isn't my specialty. Like, maybe you want to open up a makeup store. Mm-hmm. And I ain't never touched makeup a day in my life. Or you want to open up a plant shop or a cafe, and I've never done anything. I don't own a business. I've never been an entrepreneur. I've never owned a storefront at all. I've never known what funding looks like, how to get loans. I don't know anything about that. And you're coming to me for validation because you trust my opinion. And a piece of me will want to say, like, are you sure you want to do that? Or XYZ. But then maybe I should reevaluate, like, how do I say this? Okay, I could potentially be saying that because I just don't know how to do it.
Right.
So, but maybe I have Caroline over here who owns a successful coffee shop that I'm kind of close to. We don't have to be best friends, but maybe I've had several conversations with them. Maybe I could put you in connection with Caroline, and she can give you the insight on what it is to be a small business owner or a large business owner or whatever. I think connection, we talk a lot about networking and like, yeah, get out there, you gotta meet people and do all this. But a lot of times networking can happen within your own personal group.
True.
You're just not connecting people with who they need to be connected with. For whatever reason. Sometimes you're not thinking about it. Sometimes you don't want to.
Sometimes
those
you don't
people,
want to. You're just like,
and those people you gotta look out for.
Okay, which I think is actually a good thing to talk about is like, how can friends be detrimental to your success? Because friends are very important.
Yeah.
And they also can be, and when I say friends, I mean probably not actually your friends, but people in your life or people close to you also can be very large roadblocks to things you want.
Yeah. I think roadblocks is a very good term.
And I think it's pretty important to like recognize what that looks like from a friend. For example, this is like we were just talking about, like, you know for a fact Billie Jean know a person who be putting, rappers on, at the clubs on the weekends. You trying to get that mixtape out there. You're like, hey, Billie, I know you know a person, like, I'm really trying to, like, you know, do a show, whatever. Like, it would be great if you can connect us. And they're like, maybe they're being a little bit shady about it. Maybe they're avoiding the conversation. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I just saw your message. Or, oh, sorry, my fault.
I'm sorry, just saw your
I
message
didn't see it, my fault, or whatever. Like, you just, or whatever. So that's one way, you know, look out for stuff like that. Also look out for people who are too, I don't want to say too collaborative because that's not the word I look for. Too
eager.
Too eager. And eager in the sense of, like, you have to kind of, like, and I you know, like, how do I put it properly? You have to, like, look out for the type of eager. If it's the type of eager where it's like, I'm genuinely excited for you, like, oh yes, like, I've known you've had this talent or whatever, this idea for A, B, C, and D amount of time. I'm excited for you. Like, let's do it. Let's whatever. I think that's really awesome. I have friends like that. Again, you know, you, mutual friend. You know, I love DJing. It's great. There be times why we want to give up. I mean, like, I never want to touch this deck again. But, you know, between y'all's enthusiasm for me, it puts me back into, like, okay, let me get back in there and let's go ahead and, you know, get back behind the deck, which I always. And
I need you to understand that's because I really feel like you have talent.
I appreciate that.
I would not be going over you like that if your DJing was not giving. I just want you to know that.
And I appreciate that. It's just be times where I'd be like, I just want to never do this again. But, you know, people who, like, push you or who are genuinely excited for you, that's one kind of eager. Yeah. But the other kind of eager where it's like, you know, it's about the money. It's about the, you know, oh, don't forget me. Don't, you know, oh, when you make it, you gonna put me on. Okay. Like, oh, I'm going to be your manager. I'm going to take care. I agree. Someone could offer being your manager and mean it genuinely. But there are other times where, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna hook you up or whatever. We're like, there's different types of eager. You just have to kind of, like, be a little more aware about, like, where it's coming from. Like,
absolutely.
And you can genuinely tell, like, if you spend a couple moments thinking about it, you can tell like where it's coming from.
People don't get it though, because, like, loyalty is so big. I'm so glad you brought this up, because for a lot of people, loyalty is everything. Even going back to the manager thing, I've seen so many situations, not personally, and, like, huge stars, their stories where you watch behind the music and different things like that, where maybe Uncle Bobby Billy was my manager when I started, but I got big, and then I started thinking, it may be best if I go to someone who knows how to take me where I'm going. It's no detriment to you and what you've done for me. I appreciate it, and you've taken me as far as you could take me, but this Uber ride is now done. I need to now get on a plane.
Or maybe locking the door.
And it's like, oh, you just want to leave me behind, and why you want to get rid of me? But we got to be real with ourselves. There are some places that you just can't take this person, that they see the other person can take them. It's not personal. It's not me being disloyal or not genuine. Like, that really blows me in a lot of situations where people try to use that. And that eagerness is very important, because I heard a quote one time that said, you don't know people are riding your coattails until you change your coat. And it's like, dang, you be thinking like people just riding for you and they're your friends. A lot of us have blind spots to people we care about. So we will just not see it or actively ignore it, because in our minds, we don't want to really think about someone who's been this close to me, knows all these things about me, knows all the hardships I've gone through, knows where the body's buried. All these things could actually be capable of being my enemy or being someone who's not genuinely happy for me. That's like a hard pill to swallow. So a lot of times we just leave it on the table. We're like, that's not even an option. This person would never do that to me.
You know, I also wouldn't, you know, I'm going to say, yeah, you know, the people who are just kind of like in it for their own game. Like, opportunistic is definitely the word. Like, they're definitely like okay, I see where you can take me. Versus, like, how can I support you? It's more so like, oh, how can your dream also benefit me at the same time? Which, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say
together is not wrong, but like,
which I'm not going to say like I'm absolved of this like thing. I think we've all had a moment before where you've thought about like, oh, how does this benefit me?
Right.
But I think that's just like part of being human to an extent.
And that's okay to ask too, especially like if you're asking someone for like time commitments or just different things like that. But it's like there's a healthy line between understanding that, there's going to be mutual benefit on the back end versus like, how can I use this solely as like a stepping stone to get to the next place I want to go?
Right, like, fuck what you care about. This is about me, right? I'd also say in that same vein of like people who are too eager or too like yesy in the sense of like kind of what I was talking about with the feedback thing, where if you're just like constantly like, oh yeah, it sounds good, it sounds great, whatever. Oh, nice, okay, thumbs up, love it, or whatever. Like that's fake as shit. Like you don't really care. Like you don't have the time. You like maybe you don't necessarily don't care, but maybe you just don't have the time to put a lot of energy into it, or maybe you just genuinely don't care. Or you're just not interested. Like I'd rather someone tell me like, hey, this whatever you're doing, this cookbook or this DJ thing or you being a singer, it's just not for me. Like I don't eat, I photosynthesize, like I'm deaf, so like I can't hear music. So I appreciate you trying to bring it on to me, but it's not for me. It's not for me.
Right.
It's not for me.
And that could be true too. Like I think
like those, I'd rather someone tell me that versus like just be like, oh yeah, I love it, and like you don't even look at it, you don't even click on the link. Like you don't even click on the link.
That
I have Linktree, girl. I can see who can see it, girl.
That sends me, because people do not know you can see things on the back end. When somebody be like, oh yeah, this is tight. That was so. You didn't even click it. You didn't even click the link.
Didn't even click
How you telling me that you like what I said and you like this and you didn't even look at it?
I'm not gonna hold you. I'm not sure for that, but not in this. I do that in other regards. Not when it's like someone's genuine like project or something. If it's someone's genuine project or resume or whatever, I will look at it. But if it's like a song or a TikTok, sometimes I will. Other times, if you send me a song or a TikTok or an Instagram or whatever at the wrong time, I will look at the text and not click on it.
That's fair. Okay, just don't respond.
That's also what I also do. I just won't respond. But
yeah, just don't say anything about it. I mean, it may seem bad because then the person's like, oh, what are they thinking? But I would rather you do that than not actually listen or look at it, because there have been times I've had friends create things that I didn't really understand. It wasn't even my cup of tea. Like I know multiple people in my life who have made music and done different things, and I'm like, it's cool. Like it maybe not be for me.
No, not the target.
But that doesn't mean that. But that doesn't mean you cannot be successful. I think for me, what I realized is that, especially having been a creative and been like freelancing and doing things, and like there has to be a certain level of validation you already possess in yourself, that when you do take it to somebody, it is for genuine feedback. And even if you're not getting feedback that you thought you would, it doesn't break what you knew this could be. Mm-hmm. Now, I do think there are some people who can be delusional about what they're creating. Mm-hmm. And it's not necessarily my job to take you out of that delusion. I guess I would just have to figure out where I stand in your life, and I would just probably listen to God and see if that's my job. But if you really want something, and I'm like, I don't really think that's where you should be going. Like if you want to open a restaurant and you can't even boil rice, your rice is mushy, but you want to have rice on the menu, like I'm gonna tell you,
rice starchy as hell.
Okay, like you don't even know how to make the one meal you're talking about making. Like you can't even. You want to open a Caribbean restaurant, but you don't even know how to make plantain. Like what goes in curry goat? You don't even want to chop up like those kind of things. It's like, okay, you want to do that, or your Mima gave you a recipe for chicken and waffles, and now you think, oh, this is gonna bust. This is like the best chicken and waffle recipe ever. And your chicken is black on the inside because it's fried too hard. Your waffle's not fluffy,
crisp,
because one person at the family reunion or one person in your household told you this is the most delicious meal they ever had. Now you want to open a restaurant. Okay, maybe I will say, like, I don't know, maybe you should just think about it. But if you don't want that, okay, well I don't know about owning the restaurant.
Because at the end of the day, you're shut down by the What is it? The FDC or whatever? Don't come to me and be like, oh, well, you said it was. No, I did not actually. I told you I was not a fan.
I don't think. I told you I didn't think it was a good idea. Those situations happen, but there are situations where you just don't know. And I have learned that if I feel validated, I know this is what I was supposed to do, and I'm stern in that. I have like bearings in it. It's not wavering. Like I know I can't let it go. I can't shake this. Every time I do this, it brings me joy. Every time I feel like I'm creating. Then if I do go to someone and they may say something, and a lot of times I will say this, the language doesn't often change when it's a situation between you potentially not having the capabilities to do something versus the person just doesn't understand it. They don't say they don't understand it, but the language is kind of similar. It'll sound a lot of times it'll sound like you're all over the place. Why you got to do this? Why you want to do this and that? Or you should start smaller. Or why do you feel like you have the ability to go into this realm? Like those kind of questions of like, those aren't self-reflective questions like we think they are. If we're talking to people that we care about, you don't oftentimes in the moment say things like that. And I'll use this example. I heard this guy, he was on a podcast. He went to one of his best friend's comedy shows, and the girl asked him for feedback. She was like, "What'd you think about the show and everything?" He was like, "I'm so proud of you for doing it. The crowd loved it. We can actually talk about everything that I feel about it tomorrow, because what I want you to have tonight is the joy of knowing that you did something that you have been trying to do. You succeeded in this. I want you to revel and really linger in that success, and we can have this conversation tomorrow." And then the next day is when he gave the critiques. And he was like, okay, well, this is... Now, granted, this was somebody who was also in comedy, so they kind of had a bearing. They had some weight. But I thought that was so clever, because I'm like, we are so quick in the moment to say, it's almost like I told you so. We're waiting for you to fail. Yeah, you gotta pay attention. I think it goes back to paying attention. Those people who are waiting to say the "I gotcha" moment, like the "I told you so's," you gotta look out for people like that, because they don't have your best interest in mind. They're not really trying to help you succeed. They're not really trying to help you get over the hump, because there are gonna be some failures. It doesn't matter what you do. Sha'Carri Richardson came out the gate swinging as the fastest woman and immediately lost. So then it's just like, it's going to happen. Even if you're big. What happened during the pandemic? Apple lost billions of dollars because they started opening stores, didn't know that the pandemic was going to hit. They had to close all the stores that had just opened, put all this money in this, millions of dollars in renovations. It's stuff that's out of your control. You going to have moments, even when you top dog, that you're going to lose money.
Beyonce got cheated on.
Cheated?
It don't make sense.
I mean, she flipped it and made a good coin off of it.
Oh, absolutely.
But
I get cheated on, I get trauma.
It doesn't matter.
Millions of dollars. Hundreds of millions of dollars in a tour.
But it doesn't matter what level you're at. If you are always trying to be more than where you are, you're going to have roadblocks, learning lessons. It's going to be things you're going to have to overcome. Would you be wiser and smarter? Absolutely, the more you go. But unless you just want to stay stagnant, you don't ever want to be more than where you go. And for some people, they don't. Not a lot of people. A lot of people want to be more. But if you're ever trying to be more than where you are, you're going to have lessons that you're going to learn. And if you have people in your camp that don't know that, and are just like, oh, because I could not imagine can you imagine somebody telling Beyonce, "I told you so"? Like that nigga wasn't shit. Can you imagine that?
I imagine someone probably did. And
then it's just like, don't tell me that right now, girl.
Is that what I need?
Especially if I'm telling you, like, I'm not divorcing them. I'm not leaving. We're not breaking up. Why are you telling me this? He's not going anywhere. Why are you saying I told you so? Like, got you, bitch. Like, what?
Bitch.
It's crazy. So
Haters.
I can't.
Just watch out for your haters.
An I told you so versus a we gave proper warning, but I still let you do what you want to do because you were an adult, and now you're coming back. I'll use this as a recent example. There was a situation where something happened, and I gave my feedback, and I just, let them know I didn't think that was the best idea. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, just from a standpoint of where they were, where they had grown, I felt like they were reversing, and I advised that maybe that wouldn't be the best thing to do. Mm-hmm. It ended up not being the best thing. Ooh. We didn't learn till years later, but because this was years ago. Mm-hmm. And I didn't bring it up. It wasn't I told you so. I told you to never do that. I was just like, okay, well, lessons learned. And they came back to me and said, I remember when you told me this wasn't a good idea. And I appreciate it. And I didn't listen. I appreciate you not coming back and bringing it back up and throwing it in my face. And I was like, well, if I say I'm your friend and I love you and I support you, I'm going to tell you the truth because that's accountability. What you do with it is your business. And we can move on from there. And in that situation, it was just like, it was kind of validating for me because I was like, sometimes we want to save people from things, none of us actually know. Well, I'm not going to say that. We want to save people sometimes from things on the other side of the door that we know are there because we've gone through that door before. Mm-hmm. But there are also situations where we've never gone through that door before and that door scares us and we think we're saving someone from going through that door, but in reality it's just our own fear of mm-hmm. what's behind that door being perpetuated onto this person, and you can't do that.
Yeah, you said a lot in like families too or something like that where
yeah,
it's like, you shouldn't do, I don't know, pottery or whatever, because like potters don't make a lot of money or whatever. Right. Next thing you know, you the next pottery king, you got a whole Netflix show or whatever. So, definitely other people's self-imposed fears on you.
Think about the first person who like put on one of those like furry costumes or something, like to really like be a character, and they're like, who are you, bozo? Like, why are you doing that? And then it blew up. Who told Barney that Barney wasn't gonna blow up? Because I know somebody in his camp, but mom or daddy, somebody was like, you look stupid on that camera in that big dinosaur costume.
Okay. Big like, back dinosaur.
So we even do it sometimes. Family members will do it. I have seen so many situations where kids will like move out of the house and then something will happen and they'll need to move back. Young 19, 20, one to move out, one move in with a friend, something go down, and the mother or the father will be like, I told you not to move out, and hey, you should have just listened to me. I knew you weren't gonna be able to make it.
Waiting for it, baby.
Who needs to hear that at this time? Like, I already defeated. I already feel defeated. Like, there's a time and place for every kind of like a reproach. But you got to examine where it's coming from. Why are you telling me, I told you so? And really, the funny thing is, especially a lot with black parents, secretly, they're happy you're moving back.
Absolutely.
They're like happy. They'll say all they want to say. But they'll be like, oh, my baby's back. My baby's back. Like, why didn't I just say that? Like, okay, lesson learned. Now we need to figure out how to make sure you don't have to learn this lesson again.
Right.
It's just mind-boggling, man. People are wild. But yeah, I think if you have a stern validation within yourself, your friends are only honestly an additive to that success. Like, they can physically help you for sure in a lot of spaces, but if you're going for like feedback or commentary or different things like that, I think that they're just an additive. It's just like a sprinkling of something even better on top of something that's already good. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what kind of colloquialism I can say for this. I can't think of it right now. But friends should be supporting friends in any way. I believe in sharing resources. Mm-hmm. So again, going back to the if you know somebody who can, putting people on, support today, honestly, it's so much easier than it used to be. You got
so
social media. It doesn't cost you anything to share something.
Repost it on your story.
Repost it on your story. You can put it on your page. You can put it on Twitter. There are so many options now. Whereas before, people used to be like, "Oh, I don't have the time. I don't have the money. I don't have this," which is acceptable. But yeah, if that is where you have to start, then start there. I do believe your closest circle of friends shouldn't just be doing that, though.
Absolutely.
Support should look a little bit more in depth than just an Instagram story. But if you have some friends who say they're your friends and they believe in you, they're never able to show up, but they also don't even like your stuff. You just scroll by it.
Don't even follow the page.
You don't even follow the page. Like, you just... What? That's insane. That's insanity, because you're saying one thing and your actions are actually doing something else. So
yeah, girl, I support you. Whatever it is you do, yeah.
You're doing so good. Back to that that link you never clicked.
Okay. Meanwhile, the message is unread.
Baby.
Yeah, girl.
Don't piss me off.
Yeah, girl. I'm gonna check it out.
Don't piss me off. But yeah, so I'll say my final note is watch your friends and how they react. I think we've talked a little bit before about how people react to when you better yourself or get, quote unquote success. Maybe you went for a job, you're getting degrees, you're elevating, you're leveling up. Watch how people respond to that. And support your friends, man. Like, in whatever capacity you can. There is something you can do. I have learned that in the many, many years, in the many, many friendships, and the many, many people who... There's a lot of my friends do things outside of a traditional, 9-to-5. Not to say that you can't support people who do 9-to-5s, because people like raises, people want to get promotions, different things like that. But a lot of people who have really, big visions and dreams, and it's just a lot that they want to do. And I've just learned that you can also ask people, how can I support you in this time? Mm-hmm. That's a good question to ask. What can I do to help you feel like I'm helping you get towards this goal?
Right.
And then you all can discuss what you are able to do and what they would like and what you're actually able to do. That can always be a good start. But yeah, man. Watch the yes man. Watch the people who are too eager riding them coattails, man. Because
what Drake say? Started from the bottom, now we're here.
Now,
where were you at? Where were you? That's what it was. Was that Drake? Future?
You weren't with me. Who said you weren't with me shooting in the gym? Nobody? Did anybody know that? I'm gonna Google it.
Whatever they said, but yeah, if you ain't willing to put in the work, I don't want to hear from you when it happens. Also, I did want to also emphasize something you had said just now. As far as what you can do, emphasis on the can. If you don't have the bandwidth to help your friend, if you don't have the bandwidth to assist your friend or be there for your friend in the way you need to, just be honest about that. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I'd rather you be like, hey girl, I'm super excited for you. Get really, put the heel on the back of Oprah's neck or whatever. That's gonna be great. But I'm in shambles right now and I ain't got it. So, I'll share on Instagram, but I can't be there setting up the mics and stuff.
And you don't have it.
Just be honest about where you are, and
that's okay. It's okay if you're honest, because the honest conversation will then set the expectation. Because maybe this person it could be that maybe you have been able to show up in another capacity before, but in this season or wherever you are in your life, you can't do the same thing. So now this expectation is there. Y'all never really reintroduced it or talked about it, and they're like, this person just doesn't care. When they say that strangers show up for you more than the people who are close to you, it's real. That is very, very real. Until you actually make it, quote unquote, and the making it meaning being more than just your household name, but every household name per se. Yeah, it is crazy, man. Show up for your friends. Period. So, all right. Well, you know where to find us. Oh, you have anything else to say? I think that's all I have to say. I'm trying to think. Oh, and it was Rick Ross. I thought it was Rick Ross, but yeah, you want with me shooting in the gym?
That sounds like something Rick Ross would say. Closing thoughts. Support your friends the way you can, or any way that you are able to at the time.
There is
support
some
the two-way street, by the way.
Okay.
Just don't expect to. I mean, there are some people who are willing to just give you and expect nothing in return. That's the way it should be. You shouldn't expect to be like, oh, well, girl, I scratched your back. Time for you to scratch mine. But, in a time where your friend needs your support or whatever, don't be like, well, I'm a little bit too busy right now, girl. My man, whatever, girl.
Your man left you for dead, ho.
Man left you for dead, ho. And just that's my 2 final thoughts on that one, honestly. Keep good company. And when I say good company, I don't mean necessarily like hang out with a bunch of millionaires, even though I don't say it would like hurt you per se, but
But hang out with people if you want to be. I'm gonna just be real. If you want to be a millionaire, hang out with people who want to be millionaires.
Okay. So mind the company you have, and good luck to you. Y'all got this.
Not good luck to you. Good luck to you in your endeavors. Yes, I completely agree, and you are the company that you keep and support. Figure out what capacity you could do that in, because you can do it. I promise you. There is something you can do. Because you may think, oh, I won't post it. I only have 150 followers. Like, what is me posting it? That could be one person in that following of yours that don't know about sis over here who do the yak back ponytails or whatever. She been looking for somebody in the area. And now she got a client.
And now she got you.
So just never underestimate your level of influence, because there's someone in your circle, someone that you have a proximity to, that you have the ability to share something with. That's why connection and networking is so important in sharing things, because you just never know what it can do for somebody else. So yeah, y'all know where to find us. We'll have everything in the description box below. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter and the Tick of Talks. We are Funny Podcast. That's FUNIPODCAST. I forgot for a minute. Again, that's FUNIPODCAST. That is our handle for Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. You can also email us at thefriendshipuniversity@gmail.com. Any questions, topics, friend shout outs. We would really love to start doing friend shout outs. I'm probably about to start soliciting on Reddit or something, because them niggas on Reddit like to talk. So we would love to start doing friend shout outs, friend letters too. Get it off your chest, girl. Maybe you can't say it to them in person and you just need us to read it for you, and you need a little bit of advice. You can email us. I think that's all we have. As you know, you can anticipate episodes from us every Friday, Friendship Fridays. And we didn't do it at the beginning. My bad, because, life be lifing, and I forgot. So I think that's it. I think we out.
Bye.
Peace.